We talk, and then she's like, well, you know, like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to find Bullseye, and I was about to ask somebody for directions. I already almost got kidnapped, child. Like, they tried to pick me up and steal me and get me in this strange man's car. Hey, what's up? Hello, and welcome to Queen Z's World. If this is your first time hearing my voice and seeing my face, welcome to my world, to my returning subscribers. Hey, worldlings. If you want to become a worldling, you want to be part of this fabulous world, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Notice how it turned colors when I said subscribe. Notice how it's like a rainbow trying to like entice you to subscribe, saying, click me, subscribe, look at the shiny rainbow. Go ahead and hit the rainbow. Click the subscribe, join my world, and make sure to give this video a like to push it into the algorithm so we can bring more awareness and more joy into this internet thing, which can be very dark. So today I have a story time about how I almost got kidnapped, but as an adult in DC. Disclaimers. My disclaimer is gonna be that this is just for entertainment purposes. Yes, this happened. I am gonna describe what happened because I think that this is a huge warning to people, okay? And I want y'all to see how real my God is. It's a lot going on here. Personally, if you want to drag me in the comments, I don't think that's the best option. But you can go ahead and do that. But for everyone else, I would really appreciate if y'all just roll with me here with the story. It's lighthearted. It's really not too serious. No one was harmed. It's just kind of a funny story to me. And as for everyone else who's gonna get butthurt about the details, we are praying for your deliverance from the spirit of offense. For real, because I know you're tired. It's exhausting to be offended by everything. So this story happened last year, and there's a vlog coming out. When y'all see the vlog, you will actually kind of understand the context. But I was in DC for my cousin's graduation. She was getting her second degree, her master's. So, you know, went to support her there. And yeah, you know, why not? Family is everything, right? To be honest, I didn't want to go to the DMV because the last time I tried to do that, I almost lost my life. It was around the time of the insurrection, and God absolutely blocked that trip. But later on, I realized, oh snap, if I had gone, that would have been a wrap. So I was already kind of iffy about the DMV. I was not really trying to go. But I bought my plane ticket. I wanted to support my cousin. It was a huge sacrifice financially, but this is the side of a family that I haven't gotten to interact with a lot, you know, so I wanted to be there when I could. So I was already kind of like a little bit on edge. I talked to my life coach at the time and was like talking to her about my qualms about the trip, which involved a lot. But one of the things that she said is that, like, if you do decide to go, like, plan some things for yourself. Like, don't feel like you have to feel stuck in one place. Like, you can make a list of things that are interesting to you that you would want to go see. What would you want to do? Like, plan your own activities. And I'm like, okay, I actually like that because that's a very me thing. If you've seen my vlogs that I have posted here, or if you're related to me, if you've traveled with me, you know that like whenever I go places, I typically make a list of what I want to see. And you would know that, oh, whenever Zen visits a place, like she finds some interesting things to do. The people in my life love that about me, and they kind of just leave it up to me to decide what we do on the trip because they just trust that I will find just different, interesting, unique experiences to have in a particular place. So when my life coach gave me that advice, I was like, you know what? That is very on brand for me. I'm with it. Let me go on this trip. Another thing that she said at that time is she warned me and said, listen, DMV is a little rough in some places. Let's be real. She said, don't wear jewelry that's too flashy. Just keep it very simple because, hey, she was like, just be careful. You don't want to be looking too flashy, right? Keep that in mind. So I was like, okay, cool. Made my list of places I wanted to visit. I didn't get to go to everything, but what I did get to go to, I'll include in the vlog. So once it's out, I will link it. You'll see it up here. You can go check it out if you're curious. But this was now at the end of the trip. I think my last day, actually. Yeah, that was my last day. Yes, it was. Okay, my last day. I had been looking, and this is not sponsored, but I had been looking for this particular sunscreen. It's only available in stores in the States. I can order it to Canada, but the shipping is literally the price of the container of sunscreen itself. So I'm literally paying the price of 2 sunscreens, but just to get one tiny little bottle. That's not worth it. So I'd rather just buy it when I'm in the States because I don't have to pay for shipping. So I was like looking at every single, it's only in a particular store. I don't know if I want to say the name. I just don't like giving free promos. So, but if they want to sponsor me, I'll include the pictures. And if you know what I'm talking about, you'll know. And if you want to support the brand, go ahead and do so. And if they ask who sent you, you can go ahead and say that I found out about this brand through Queen Z. That would help me a lot, and maybe they can go ahead and sponsor me because I love the brand. I really do, and I actually really use it. And if I'm gonna talk about it and encourage it and hype it up to everybody else, and now they wanna check it out because they watched the video, I should definitely get compensated because I am promoting you. But anyway, I am looking at these stores because they only sell it in particular stores that are only in America. So I'm going to these stores, like even when I'm with my cousins, if we have downtime, I'm just looking up on my maps, where is the nearest store? And so I am, let's call it Bullseye, okay? Let's just call it Bullseye because I'm like, where's the nearest Bullseye? Some of y'all know the store. And so I'm like, okay, looking it up, and I'm like, oh, it's walking distance from my cousin's apartment. I was like on a mission. I think we all went as the cousins, like me, my cousins, and then their other cousins. So we kind of were like all walking together to the shopping area because their other cousin wanted to get something for his family. He wanted to like find souvenirs for them and stuff. So I'm like, okay, the thing I need is at Bullseye. You're looking for stuff too. We all went. So we go to the Bullseye close to their apartment at that time. I don't find it. Because the thing about this sunscreen, it sells out so quickly. Like you cannot find it in the store. Previous times when I've been in New York, and I'm gonna share all the vlogs. So y'all will know how many times I've been to New York since the first vlog that I did 5 years ago. Which I'm still gagged by. Like, I still love New York. Every time I've gone to New York, I have literally gone with my friend Chelsea, and I've been like, sis, we need to go to Bullseye. We have gone to Bullseye in the Bronx, in Brooklyn. We went to, I had her going with me just to find this very specific sunscreen. And every time we would go, sometimes it would be sold out. So I started just looking it up online on the specific branch of Bullseye to see, is this sunscreen in stock? Because guys, it sells out so quickly, yet it's the only sunscreen that I will use because it just works so well. It smells so good. It doesn't leave you ashy. Like, this sunscreen is the truth, okay? Little T truth, okay? Like, this should tell you I'm dedicated. On the website, it said it was in stock, but when I got to the Bullseye there with my cousins, it was gone. I'm like out here like, okay, who can I trust? So I talked to the nearest worker at the store, and I'm like, hey, on the website it says that it's in stock, like, but I couldn't find it. Like, am I looking in the wrong section? The worker goes with me and they're like, oh, actually, we usually get our stock on these certain days of the week, if you check back in a few hours, we might have restocked it, so just come back. I was like, okay, but I didn't think it was likely just because with my family, we kind of already had our plans for the day, so it doesn't make sense for us to come back to Bullseye after we leave. So I was just like, okay, I'll just have to check for it elsewhere. So the weekend goes on, but it's a few days later. So now my cousins have moved to a different apartment during this same trip. Yes, a lot was going on. You'll see it in the vlog. So they're at their new apartment on the RE Lennox, and they've moved in, their stuff is there, and now there's like more downtime. At this point, I've gotten to see the sights, I've done a lot of the things on my list, not everything that was on my list of what I wanted to see in DC, but enough that I feel satisfied. I've also been to New York, so I feel like full. I'm like, listen, the one thing about me, as long as I touch down in New York, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I didn't need to see nothing else. I was happy. But I still needed my sunscreen. That was the one thing. Because I'm not in the States often. I'm maybe there like once a year. And this sunscreen has to last me, okay? I needed it. My other one was running out. Yeah, we had downtime with the cousins. And I was like, you know what? Let's see if I can find a Bullseye and get my sunscreen. So another thing you need to know about me is I'm a very adventurous person. Always have been since I was a baby. I'm also very confident in my abilities to look after myself. Hello, I live alone. I moved out at 17. I have survived. God has been with me. I know how to navigate in the world. For some reason, there's this reputation that others in my family project onto me, that they don't think I'm street smart and they don't think that I can survive, but they don't even know half of what I've been through. And so I don't even take it personally, because if you had seen the situations that I've navigated through, you would realize that, yeah, I know how to carry myself in public. I am street smart. If I wasn't, I would have been kidnapped a very long time ago. I am a woman navigating this world. If I'm still alive, trust me, it's not random. And no shade to those who have been human trafficked, because it is dangerous out here. It is tricky out here. There are a lot of weird people who find creative ways to lure people in, and I'm not victim blaming those who have gotten into those situations, but I'm just saying myself, there's no way that I'm going to be unaware of where I am. Yeah, I was kind of like, okay, the nearest Bullseye, it's walking distance. I can get there, get my thing and go. This is literally my last day in the States. I don't know when I'm gonna be back. Let me just get what I need to get. And we were kind of just doing nothing at my cousin's house. Everyone was just on their phones, and I was just like bored, and I'm like, let me get this thing. So I'm just letting them know, hey guys, I'm about to go to Bullseye and get this. They're like, oh, but we don't know where Bullseye is. And I'm like, oh, that's fine, I have it on my maps. Oh, but like, we don't have a car, like, and I'm like, that's fine, I'll walk. And they're like, oh, but it's like nighttime, I don't know if you should walk. And I'm just like, well, let me go before the sun sets. And we're literally doing nothing. I checked where it is on my map. My phone has battery. It's not fully charged. I don't remember why not, but my phone is on its last legs, but I have enough battery that I can make it to Bullseye and back. I'm just like, I need to get out of the house. I just feel cooped up. We're doing nothing. I need to get out of here. Like, cause sometimes I get like that, where if I'm one place for too long, I get like, I guess, stir crazy and restless. So I just have to explore. I just have to do something. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, I leave and I check on maps where to go. And I'm like, okay, cool. The map gets downloaded. But then I'm also listening to music, because that's another thing I do when I'm outside. I always have earphones in, because you know, I like to listen to stuff as I go along. And also, I'm not trying to interact with people, because one thing about people, when you have a mission, they will try to throw you off. So a lot of times I will just, even here, run my errands, get everything done with my ears plugged in, because there are a lot of sketchy people out there. There are just too many. It's not me trying to be unfriendly, but if you think I'm unfriendly and you leave me alone, hey, I still win. I know eventually I get to a road where I have to go left. But at a certain point, my maps just turns off all of a sudden and decides that it's tired for whatever reason. Because sometimes that will happen when I'm listening to music and using maps. My phone will glitch and just like turn maps completely off. And so that happened. And I'm like, that's so annoying. I don't have data because I'm in another country. I'm not gonna be roaming and using data. Like, that's crazy. So I go back to close to where the apartment is so that I'm in range of the Wi-Fi. Now, the problem with this apartment is that you don't, like, the visitors don't have a physical key or even like a card to tap to say, you know, to let them into the building. It's all on the phone. So the thing is that if this phone dies, I have no way of contacting my cousins. And on top of that, I can't get back into the building because it's all on the phone. And on top of that, I need the phone for directions. This was a chaotic situation, but like I said, I had spent the entire day at their apartment. We had moved everything in. We were literally doing nothing. I think I was the only, because I had wanted to shower at their house when they were going out to get fast food. I had stayed back because I wanted to shower, because I hadn't showered. So I had been at the apartment all day. I needed to leave. I don't know why my phone wasn't charged, but it wasn't, right? So I am now going back to be in range with the Wi-Fi to reload this map. And this time I'm taking screenshots of the map so that if it turns off again, I still have the directions. So I do that. I'm on my way again. Around the same place, the map shuts off again. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going back again. Let me just go by the screenshots, read the street names, and go like that. I do that, and I'm kind of just checking my phone to see, okay, let me just stop before I get lost. What street do I need to be on? At this time, and I'll include pictures of what I was wearing, but at this time, this lady, this older black lady with no teeth, walks up to me. And she's just like, oh, excuse me. And I'm like, oh, kind of ignore because I have my headphones in and I'm not really trying to talk to anyone. But I'm like, you know what? I have a soft spot in my heart for other black people because I grew up in towns and cities where there are not a lot of us. So she walks up to me and she's just like, asking me for change, or if I have change, if I have money. And she's telling me this story like, oh, like I live in this apartment, and I'm in front of a building. She's like, I live in this apartment, I don't have a key. And I'm like, oh, I don't live here, so can't help you, sorry. And then she's like, oh, well, can you give me some change? Because she's telling me this long story about how she needs to buy a sandwich because even though she's at the apartment, she doesn't have money for food. And I empathize with that, you know, but to be honest, I did not have change. I told her I'm not from here, like I'm from Canada, so I don't have American money. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to find. She's like, oh yeah, I know where it is. Yeah, you gotta turn this way. She's sending me right. She's like, you gotta turn this way. It's this way. And I'm like, oh, okay, really? And she's like, yeah, you gotta go this way. Suddenly, this car pulls up, this fancy car. It was like this sleek, clean, silver car with tinted windows. And this young man rolls down the window and she's like, oh, that's actually my nephew. Okay. Okay, her nephew's there. I'm like, oh, okay. And then she's telling the nephew, she's trying to find Bullseye. She's trying to find Bullseye. You know, can you drive her? My nephew can drive you to Bullseye. And I'm like, No, I'm not getting in the car with these random people that I just met. All skin folk and kinfolk, I'm not getting in the car with you. She's trying to like convince me, oh yeah, my nephew can drive you to Bullseye. It's down this way. I was telling her, and she's telling the nephew, I was telling her, Bullseye is this way. Here's the thing. I knew according to my map, Bullseye was actually that way and then straight down. I had to turn left, then go straight down. It was on this side of the city. But she was trying to send me to the other side of the city. And she was trying to convince me that her nephew was going to drive me. And she was like telling the nephew, isn't she a pretty girl? Look, she's so pretty. The nephew's agreeing, and I'm just like, I'm not even really gonna say thank you. I'm really uncomfortable. And here's the thing. If the woman really was hungry and stuff like that, you have family in the city. If that's your nephew, family should be the first to take care of family. I know people's family dynamics are different, but if he's even here in a car to pick you up or to meet you, clearly you have a relationship with him. Ask him for $5. Ask him for a sandwich. Like, I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm not falling for that. But anyway, so I leave. I'm just like gonna continue down the path that I know I need to be on. And I keep walking. And my phone at this point, the map is gone, but I'm just following like the street names that I had screenshotted. And I know the general direction, like, okay, I need to pass by this store and this store, keep going till I get to the third traffic light, and then I turn again. And I'm out here just walking, listening to my music, enjoying life. And then I remember, oh, I'm wearing a very visible gold chain. I remember what my life coach said to me about wearing flashy jewelry. Maybe they're planning on running up on me. No guns were pulled on me and nothing crazy happened, but I'm just like, what were they trying to do? Why were they trying to get me in that car? But I kept going. And at this point I had passed them. They left, they went the direction they wanted to go, and I kept going on my path. And so it is kind of like it isn't getting dark, but the sun is going down. And I know that the walk to Bullseye is gonna be like a 40-minute walk, 50-minute walk. Like, it's gonna be a better half of an hour. So I'm walking and walking, and I'm like, okay, I really wanna ask for directions, but I am not asking civilians, child. Let me go ahead and ask somebody who's in a store, who works here. And I'm like looking for a store that isn't off my path, and just like trying to rehearse in my head what I'm gonna ask because I'm just like, okay, let me figure out what I'm trying to say, and let me make sure they're sending me to the same Bullseye that I'm trying to go to, because on the website, that was the Bullseye that had what I was looking for, the sunscreen. I see this grocery store that is on the side. It's like on the same side of the street I'm walking on, and it's just on the corner. For some reason, I just wanted to go there. I'm like, I should go and ask somebody in that store. And I was like, nah. I keep walking past it. Then I turn around. I'm like, no, let me just go to this store. I'm tired. Like, let me just ask one of the employees, how do I get to Bullseye? Am I on the right track? So I go into the store, and I'm literally rehearsing in my head, okay, this is what I'm gonna say. I'm trying to find like how to get to the cashiers, because they don't seem to have like roaming employees who are kind of just stocking stuff. So I'm trying to figure out, like, you know, who works here. I'm like, you know, I'm debating, should I just ask a regular citizen? I'm like, no, because people have attitudes. I just want to ask someone who works here. So I'm still trying to figure that out. And then I hear somebody say a version of my name. Now, this is not my name. This is how people who don't know how to pronounce my name pronounce my name. And I stopped letting people mispronounce my name when I was 10 years old. So whoever said this was not a voice I recognized, but also clearly knew me as a child. So I was like, And I'm looking around. I look at the white millennial lady that is beside me that I was debating, asking for directions. She's not someone I recognize. So I turn around and I see Chiesa. I see Chiedza. Now, context. Chiedza's dad and my dad are very close friends. They went to university together. We're family friends from a long time. But because they live in the States, we don't see them that often. So I hadn't seen Chiedza since I think I was 11 or 12. And she also was around my age. Y'all, my memory has an interesting function where I actually don't remember a huge chunk of the years between 2014 to 2019. So pretty much I had completely forgotten that I had seen Chiedza at her cousin's wedding, which I also vlogged. This is why I vlog, because I need to remember what happened in my life. But yes, the vlog is here and we literally had met up then. So yeah, it hadn't been that long. So hadn't seen her for years, but we followed each other on social media, but we just weren't like, we didn't talk that often. But anyway, I was like, oh, so for context, her brother was graduating at the same university as my cousin, but his grad, I think, was at a different time, but possibly on the same day. So she was in town for that, you know, so it was just like kind of crazy. I didn't even know her brother was graduating until I was already there for my cousin's grad. So that's why it was just kind of like, oh, what? You're here? What? So I was like, oh, okay, Chiedza. She's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh yeah, I was here for my cousin's grad. She's like, oh, okay, I was here for my brother's grad. We talk, and then she's like, well, you know, like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to find Bullseye, and I was about to ask somebody for directions. I already almost got kidnapped, child. Like, they tried to pick me up and steal me and get me in this strange man's car. Like, I was like, I don't know what has been going on. So I was just about to ask, you know, one of the cashiers. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I'm here with my boyfriend. Like, you know, we have a car. We could literally drive you. I'm like, are you sure? I wouldn't want to take you guys out of your way. They're like, no, it's completely fine. It's also kind of far. So we go to their car, and then she's like, oh, we should FaceTime my mom. My mom will be so shook that we met. I'm like, yes, let's take pictures. We need to send it to the parents to be like, guess who I saw? So we did. We took our pictures, and then, yeah, and then her and her boyfriend drove me to the correct store. And listen, got into the store, went to the aisle to find my sunscreen, and guess what I saw, guys? I saw the most abundant, most full shelf of this sunscreen that I have ever seen in my entire life. Every other time I've been to Bullseye to get this sunscreen, if I even find it, there are only 2 bottles left on the shelf. And I'm taking both because I need to stock up. It's usually sold out. But when I got to that Bullseye, hey, there was an abundance. It was like the promised land. It was overflowing with milk and honey. I even had options for which kind that I wanted. I could get SPF 45, 50, 30. I could get glossy. I could get matte. I could get, like, there were options. And so I was able to get what I needed. I paid for it, I left, and I was able to walk back to my cousin's apartment because at that point, I knew how to get back. I knew the directions. Here's another thing. Did I charge my phone? Okay, yes, I had charged my phone at some point, maybe while I was in the car. So my phone was not dying at all. So I was able to just like even stop. I took pictures. I had a photo shoot on my walk back. I was living my best life. I got to see somebody like actually hitting a wheelie. You know how like in the DMV, like they're notorious for just people on bikes or dirt bikes on the street just hitting wheelies and just like doing tricks, real ghetto. Like I got to see that. I was like,
where the hood niggas at? Where's the hood niggas at? I'm looking for the hood niggas. Come on. Ooh, where's the trap niggas? You got to be selling that work.
I'm getting the full experience. I was happy. Like I had a good time walking back and I made it to my destination safely, was able to be reunited with my cousins. They're like, oh, you found what you were looking for? I'm like, yes. They're like, cool, that's great. We had a great last day together, and I was able to get home safely. Lost my AirPods on one of the flights back. The way back from that trip was so much freaking warfare, but we're not gonna talk about it at all. The moral of my story is this: my God loves me. Yes, he does. Because the fact that God gave me discernment already to know that, okay, this lady is not telling the truth, because if she's really, you know, as desperate as she's claiming to be, and she has family here, she could always ask her family for help. Her family should be there for her. Also, this seems like a scheme, because a lot of the times these days, human trafficking doesn't just happen with creepy old men in vans. No, they have recruited women. They've recruited people who seem motherly, who young women would trust. They will recruit, you know, these handsome looking men who, oh, okay, like I want to be in the car with this fine man. They'll recruit anybody. So I was not about to get in a car with somebody I don't know. I don't even like Ubers like that. Anytime I get an Uber by myself, I'm sitting in the front seat where you cannot child lock me in. Yeah, I heard about you. Okay, so for me, I do not play about that kind of thing. Another thing is, these guys were literally trying to send me in the wrong direction. Here's the thing, and this will preach if you let it. You gotta know which direction you're going. Because people along the way will send you the opposite way and waste your time and put you in harm's way and possibly kidnap you. Okay, maybe not that dramatic, but in life, you have to know where you're going. You may not know the perfect details, but you have to have a goal and know where you are and have a plan on how to get there. Even if I didn't follow the map perfectly and was on the exact street that it said, as long as I was in that general direction, I knew I was gonna end up where I needed to be, okay? And, like I said, sometimes some people will try to throw you off. Maybe they don't always mean ill. Maybe they genuinely were gonna take me to a different bullseye, but it wasn't gonna be the specific store that had my product that I was looking for in stock. So it still would have been off track. And maybe they were not gonna kidnap me, but it did seem like they really were trying to convince me to get in that car, okay? I was not about to go, but who knows what their intentions were, but either way, they were still gonna take me off track. Another thing is that the Holy Spirit was the one telling me I need to go into that specific grocery store. I passed maybe like 2 other grocery stores that I could have gone into, but I didn't feel like I wanted to go in there. I almost passed that other grocery store, but something told me no. Swallow your pride and ask for help. Go to that grocery store and ask somebody how to get to the bullseye. Like, stop playing. So I did say, okay, let me stop playing. And I did turn around and I listened to the voice of the Holy Spirit telling me to go. Didn't know it was the Holy Spirit until things fell into place. I met a childhood friend, a family friend, someone who I could trust, someone who I knew was not about to kidnap me, someone who knew my family. There's accountability there. So even if she did kidnap me, we know where you live. So, and she wouldn't, right? But like, God literally put the right people in my path. And yes, they did drive me to my location. It wasn't wrong to be driven there. I wasn't against being driven. I just didn't want to go in a car with someone I didn't know. But at this time, I was driven by someone who knew someone I knew, and the person I knew was in the car the whole time. I was able to get to my destination, and when I got there, there was an abundance of what I was looking for. There were so many life lessons that I learned. So many that, like, I hope that y'all catch it. And if you don't, that's okay, because this is not a sermon. It's not a prophetic word. I'm telling a story. But there are lots of life lessons along the way that just confirm to me that when I know where I need to go, if I have a goal, I'm literally not letting anyone take me off track. Because when I get to that place, I might even find more than I thought I would find. Hey, Rakashat. I might find even more than I expected. So this has been my story time of how I almost got kidnapped in Washington, D.C. And, you know, will I be back? I might have to. But anyway, thanks for listening. Check out my vlog when it comes out and you'll just have a visual to see the behind the scenes of it all. But this has been my story. And again, if that brand of sunscreen asks you how you found out about them, go ahead and tell them I found out about you through Queen Z. I'm not gonna shout them out until I become an affiliate though, because I don't believe in free promo, like I said. But at the same time, I genuinely love the brand, so I'm gonna show the picture without blurring it. Make sure to like the video if you learned something, like the video if you were entertained, like this video if you also believe that bodies are not commodities, like this video if you even know why I'm saying bodies are not commodities. And yeah, you know, human trafficking is really crazy. And it's really not a joke. So please stay safe out here. Please use wisdom. Please listen to the Holy Spirit. Do not get in cars with people you do not know. It's just not worth it. And yeah, I mean, that's it. Bye. Put your love on top. Shine and put your love on top. It's your time to put your love on top. Everybody put your